Hello, everyone, and welcome back to On the Offense, where we dissect all things marketing and communications and have a ball doing it. I am John. This is,
I'm Jeff.
and our executive producer is Gelman. Gelman, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. That sounded a little unhinged, didn't it, John?
Gelman needs to be the one on camera, not us. All right, just fair warning, everybody. We have talked in advance of this, and we've decided we feel like being a little bit unhinged here. I don't know what that's going to mean. We may get too into the topic or we forget, but we apologize in advance for any poor behavior. So oftentimes we take something in the news as a launching pad into a discussion, and that is exactly what we are going to do today. So yes, rebrands. Rebrands is the topic for the day. And to say this has been in the news is an understatement. And I'll tell you what,
For sure.
right? I mean, with the semester just having started, and I'm teaching advertising and brand strategy classes at the great and grand, Jeff, University of North Texas. Go Mean Green. What a great case study Cracker Barrel has been in these classes about brands and marketing and advertising and so forth. So yes, I am referring to Cracker, that this, what I'm about to do, Jeff, is going to lead you down a primrose path. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
To
Got my sneakers on.
Gate, Cracker Barrel Gate, Cracker Gate, Barrel Gate, Restaurant Gate, Rebrand Gate. By the way, now you're going to see the connection here. Speaking of gate, meaning Watergate, I have to do it. A shout out to the single biggest stud in the history of the human race. That would be
Me.
Robert Redford. Robert
Oh,
Redford,
yes.
who just passed away at 89 yesterday when we're recording this. And it was Redford in the brown. Oh man, I wish I still had it. I haven't had it for a long time now. In the brown corduroy sport coat in All the President's Men. Can you picture him in that ugly 70s brown?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
As Bob Woodward, that made me fall in love with journalism, which is how I started my career, for those of you who know my story. So Jeff, so that's my all-time favorite Redford role. I'm going to put you on the spot. Your favorite could be your favorite Redford movie, your favorite Redford role, which could be different. Everyone.
Well, I think All the President's Men was great. I actually thought Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was one of my favorites.
Classic. And you like that better than The Sting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I just read last night that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid came out 5 years before The Sting. And when The Sting came out, everyone was so into Redford and Paul Newman as this duo that they reintroduced
Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
So it was in theaters at the same time as The Sting. Anyway, rest in peace, Robert Redford. You left your mark both, frankly, in front of the camera, but also behind it. What an amazing directorial career he also had as an environmentalist, and of course, having started the Sundance Film Festival,
which will live on.
And ironically, it is now in the process of moving from Park City, near where he lived, to Boulder, Colorado, where he went to college. And so going forward, yeah, it'll be in Boulder. So there you have it.
Okay.
All right. Cracker Barrel. All right. Do you think Robert Redford ate at Cracker Barrel?
I kind of doubt it, but you know what? I used to live up in the Northeast, and we would drive down to Florida on occasion to see my in-laws. And we drive all the way down I-95. And when a Cracker Barrel came up, we were thinking, okay, this would be a nice place to stop for breakfast or lunch. It was comforting. You felt the comforts of home. You saw the rocking chairs. You had that little game with the golf tees to play. That tradition kind of led me in, the warmth of it. Well, what are they doing? They're getting rid of that. You don't know what you've got until it's gone, and it was going to be gone.
It was going to be on, but no longer. So,
Mhm.
I mean, this has just been a crazy case study in rebranding. So, yeah, so Cracker Barrel, and this is in the last few weeks, announced two main things that I can recall. I think I have this right. One was a rebrand of the logo, a redo of the logo that
Right. That was
removed
first.
the older man and the rocking chair, and I believe the barrel as well. And was there a dog in the logo?
I don't recall a dog, but there could have been. I think that would have been a bit too busy, but you got
Probably.
the whole idea. That old man with the butter churn or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and they were going to get rid of all of that, keep the name of the restaurant in the same font, and maintain the colors, the corporate colors of brown and yellow, which
Hmm.
sounds like an ugly combination, but it actually wasn't. So that was the first thing they announced. The second thing they announced, and I think these were announced concurrently, I think, was a complete redo of the inside of their restaurants uh,
Right.
to focus much more on a, if you will, I just lost my light here, a more sleek, more modern experience. What's the matter with this thing? Which, and not sure if they were going to keep the country store part, but it would be,
I think they were.
they
I
were
think they were.
a complete renewal, if you will,
Hmm.
inside. Now, let me ask you a little quiz. Like I said, I'm a professor on the side here. Quiz time, Jeff.
Oh, Mr. Fancy.
That's Mr. Fancy to you. What is the number one reason people go to restaurants?
Ah, I know. I like to go for great food,
It's a bit of a
but
trick question.
entertainment, just to get out of the house, I like to go to a restaurant. What is the real number one reason?
Well, I mean, what I was hoping you would do was say food, which you kind of sort of said.
I
I mean,
did. I like food,
that's the product, right? I mean, that you're
right?
going to eat. That's actually not the number one reason. The number one reason is a combination of the ambiance of the particular restaurant. But one thing that's common, regardless of the ambiance, is you're being served. To go and be waited upon to be served, you don't have to do it yourself. Um, it's just to be served and just kind of do something nice, right?
Hmm.
Um, but if you're going to redo the entire environment and ambiance, you're messing with that mojo. You're messing with the number one reason why people go out to eat. I mean, unless you're a chef, you're probably not producing restaurant quality food at home, but you can get a decent meal at home, right?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, yes, food is, I'm sure, is part of it, but more importantly, it's that people just want to be served and they want to enjoy a familiar experience, right? So what
Hmm.
happened? The customers lost it, the investors lost it, the president of the United States lost it.
You lost it.
Okay. And the result was that they caved on the logo pretty quickly, like semi immediately, which was to me as a marketer was a real red flag. You've either done your research and you're doing the right thing, or you haven't and you're not. And so they caved on that. But in the background, they kept pursuing the remodel of the restaurants. Apparently now they've stopped that as well.
Yeah, I heard they only did about four so far. So
That
that
sounds
limits the damage.
that sounds about right. So they've now stopped the whole thing dead in its tracks. Now it's easy. It's easy to, when what have they done right? What have they done wrong? Right? It's easy to throw them under the bus. Right? It ended badly.
It is easy.
I mean, it's very easy, and we should, these things are far more complicated than they seem. I'm willing to bet it's easy to say, oh, they didn't do the research, they didn't talk to the customers. If they didn't, shame on them. Um, and if I had to say what did they do wrong, it doesn't sound like they talked to enough customers, right? Or maybe they didn't do enough to preview things to a certain select audience. I don't know, but they seem to have been caught off guard by the reaction. people have emotional connections to brands, and if you mess with that emotional connection, you've got a problem, right?
Right.
They didn't completely blow the thing up. I mean, the same colors, the same logo. The logo looks different because the environment around it is different, but the logo is actually the same. The colors are
Right. Without a few embellishments. That's all.
well, yeah. They still have the country store. Now, I have an article in front of me, an AP news story on a rebrand. How often does that happen? Probably not often. Here's one of the things they did. They did some things in advance as part of this overall transformation. They didn't just go from 0 to 60 overnight with this stuff that we just talked about. They tried to update the menu.
Right.
Trying to get younger. They had, I want to say, 4 or 5 consecutive quarters, not years. I think it was quarters of of declines in sales, same store sales, which that's restaurant business. So they had good reasons for doing this, but they did try to update the menu items to increase their dinner time traffic. And I'm telling you, if this thing is still on the menu, I'm going to Cracker Barrel today. Hash brown casserole shepherd's pie. Are you kidding?
Oh, I've had that. I like that.
But they make it sound like it was a new item. That seems very kind of a traditional Cracker Barrel item.
It does. You're mixing some traditional items together. But John, we were talking. How would you characterize Cracker Barrel food? I characterize it as comfort food.
Comfort food, totally.
Something you count on. Hey, it's there. This is familiar. I like it. And they were gonna chuck that.
Do you think it's possible, Gelman, is it okay if we spend the next 30 seconds just chanting hash brown casserole shepherd's pie, like over and over? Okay, are you ready? Yeah.
I'm ready.
We're not going to do that.
For
But
the record, I did
Come on,
say
one
no,
time.
go
One time.
for it.
I just want to hear it out loud one more time. Hash brown
Hash brown,
casserole.
casserole, shepherd's pie.
Are you kidding me? So I'm here to tell you in the next week, I'm going to Cracker Barrel and I'm ordering that. But that's I to me, and then I'll stop and we'll turn it over to you and talk about some other rebrands maybe. But to me, that's the best thing that's come out of this for the company. We're sitting here talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Were
In a
we
huge
talking
way.
before? We weren't.
No.
I drive by those restaurants every day. Don't pay them any heed. Now I want to go. I want to see it for myself. What's all the fuss about, right?
Right.
Regardless of the, I quote, hash brown casserole shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie.
my new favorite dish in my head. But yeah, I mean, word of mouth and the value of earned media, which Jeff and I know so well. You cannot buy the earned media that they have somehow ended up with, right? Whether they meant it,
Right. They stumbled into it.
stumbled into it. I'm willing to bet. Let's make a bet right now. I'll bet you $5. I'll bet you a hash brown casserole shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie.
That their same store sales go up in whatever quarter we're in now, probably Q3 if they're on a fiscal calendar. Much you want
The problem I have with that bet, John, is I would bet the same thing.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to
They
think.
will. They will.
How about if we I told you all we're going to be a little unhinged here. How about if we both buy the hash brown casserole shepherd's pie?
I'm in. I'm in on that.
No, that's just one part. The second part is then we have a food fight.
I like that too.
You like that?
I like that too. Yeah.
Everybody kind of wins at that point.
Well, and the hash brown casserole shepherd's pie, there's a lot of good smushy stuff.
Right. That's
good.
good.
Take a handful of that.
That is really good food fight material. So, all right. I mean, it's this one of those things. This has become a thing, taken on a life of its own. But the earned media, I don't know. I'm willing to bet that they're going to end up doing okay here. So,
I believe so as well.
So, in preparing for this, Jeff and I both stumbled on many an example of a rebrand in recent times. In 2024 alone, there were so many brands that it was actually shocking. You don't realize when they maybe come out one at a time. When you see a roll up like that, some really big brands. One of them was Jaguar, and I know you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's an amazing one to me. And so when I think of Jaguars, I think of growing up. I thought the ultimate car was that Jaguar XKE from the late 1960s.
Oh yeah.
What a beautiful machine. And Jaguar was kind of viewed as an aristocratic vehicle that if you had made it, you could drive a Jag. But it also had a reputation of not being the most reliable type of car, a lot of breakdowns, all that stuff. So they wanted to revamp their image. Well, if you're going to do that, how would you do it? You'd want to keep your current base of customers. You want to expand it, but you want to do it in a way where you don't alienate people who are already loyal to your brand. So they decided, okay, we're going to ditch that growler, the mouth of the Jaguar, and ditch the logo altogether for its advertising, change the fonts, how Jaguar looks, and appeal to a young hipster audience. And I saw that, I was thinking, why on earth are they doing this? And it's kind of interesting because the first reaction to it was from 2024 to 2025, their sales dropped over 98%. That is hard to believe. Now they were overstocked in 2024, so that might have something to do with it, but you still don't drop 98%. So not only did they drop 98%, they got rid of their CEO, they started afresh, but by all measurements, that's a disaster.
That sounds like a disaster. Now, let's not point counterpoint, but I read an article that has some different information that made me wonder about why they did it, right? Because I mean, let's face it, the single hardest that you're going after a new target, a new demographic. That's what Cracker Barrel was trying to do. It's really hard. It's really
Yeah.
right. What is a CMO to do? It's hard, right? You want to go in this direction, but you don't want to lose your core base, right? So listen to this. Tell me if this makes any sense. It says Jaguar, this is a Wall Street Journal story from recently.
Mm-hmm.
The company is attempting to move into a more exclusive market where executives say the opinions of the vast majority, meaning vast majority of customers, don't really matter. That's
I mean, how does that happen?
How does that happen? Exactly. Jaguar expects only 15% of its current customers to buy its cars once its rebrand is complete. That is mind-boggling to me.
It is totally mind-boggling.
Right? I mean,
You make your money off your existing clients. You
right.
grow that base. You add some more on because that's great, but you need that big existing customer base.
I agree. Now, the other thing is, what if this, I mean, that's a luxury item, okay?
It is.
Compared to a consumer packaged good, a roll of paper towels, a bag of potatoes that are bought every 10 days, a Jaguar or an upscale vehicle is bought every 10 years. I'm making these numbers up, but
yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's say 85% of people who buy the cars are new, but what if they don't buy one for another 5 to 10 years? Then it's not like paper towels where you have to have it. You have to have a Jaguar? I don't think so. You have to have a car.
No,
I don't know if you have to have a Jaguar, right? And so,
you don't have to have a Jaguar.
and the headline of the story, which is mind-boggling, says, or one of the subheads, the CEO, and I don't mean, again, this stuff is so much more complicated than people understand. There's so much going on here. But the CEO of Jaguar is basically saying that the fact that everyone's so upset shows him the plan is working. I don't get that either. I don't get it. Do you want people paying attention to you? Yes.
Hmm.
Want them pissed? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of
No.
my mouth because here I am saying I'm going to go to Cracker Barrel, but I'm not one of the core customers. I'm not pissed. I'm just curious.
I would look at myself the same way. John, can I throw in another example? And
Please.
and and here's a brand you'd never want to rebrand. And I don't even know if they're still along there, but I talked again about my trips, from New Jersey to Florida on I-95. And once you get south of the Mason-Dixon line, you see a lot of Stuckey's. And you stop at Stuckey's. Well, why do you stop at Stuckey's? To get a pecan roll. That is what you get at Stuckey's. What if they were to discontinue pecan rolls? What would that do to their brand? Brands are what people say about you when you're not in the room. And again, just like Cracker Barrel, what's more traditional than stopping at Stuckey's and getting a pecan roll?
Okay. This is actually a serious comment. Brands, that may be the greatest quote of all time. Brands are what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Hmm.
What a great way to look at it.
I think so.
All
I
right.
think so because that's true.
I retract my threat of the food fight. I cannot huck hash brown casserole shepherd's pie at someone as learned as you. Can't do, I can't do it. So, all right. So you're saying they were going to get rid of them?
No, 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 no. I'm saying what a travesty if they thought, oh, I'm going to rebrand and get rid of pecan, the rolls. Why would you do that? And
Do they?
that is the same question for Cracker Barrel that I'd see. Why do I want to get rid of something that was viewed as a comfort item where I would stop because it's just a great thing to do? Why would you go to Buc-ee's along the highway and not go and get some beaver nuggets and all the delicious things they have at Buc-ee's and take in the spectacle? Those are places where it becomes more than a road trip, it becomes a tradition. And so I think we need to preserve stuff like that, not only as a part of marketing and branding, but as a part of our culture. What is the country if you get rid of these things that you've always counted on?
We are nothing without pecan rolls.
Yes, yeah.
My learned statement of the day. No,
Yeah.
but the point is valid. Yeah, is Stuckey's often along the highway?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Think about it. So is Cracker Barrel, right? If you think about
Right.
it, and Buc-ee's, great example. Um, I wonder if those, to the extent that the business of the revenue from those businesses is dependent upon people saying, "Oh, look, let's get off." Maybe there's not a lot of pre-planning.
No.
Even more reason it people better have people better be able to get what they expect to get, right? Because then they're out of there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, um, Stuckey's and what's the other one? Oh, do they have Stuckey's in Texas?
I haven't seen a Stuckey's in Texas, but I might be wrong on that.
Rudy's Barbecue.
Oh yeah, Rudy's Barbecue. That's a good one.
Now, that's the type of place that probably never changes.
No. And that's the beauty of it, right?
And maybe they should, but they won't, right? By the way, for those of you who never traveled through Texas and seen a Rudy's Barbecue, please get off the highway, have some Rudy's Barbecue. Um, okay, other examples. I've got a couple.
Can I throw in one more before you get to yours?
Please.
Again, on that I-95 trip, once you get into the Carolinas, once you get to North Carolina, maybe Southern Virginia, you start to see these big billboards for south of the border in Dillon, South Carolina. And they're all very kind of tongue-in-cheek. Visit south of the border is famous Sunover Beach and all these different things. And as you get closer and closer, the signs get more frequent. So if I'm a traveler going south, I'm going to say, I want to stop at south of the border and see what all this is about. And so
Sure.
I finally convinced Lori, let's stop at south of the border, see what it's all about. And it ended up being kind of a cold night. You just cross right over the border, and there it is with a big sombrero. And honestly, it was like a creepy place. Like, when they have those murders at the carnivals, that was kind of the feel of it. It was
You,
dark. Oh, excuse me, I have
you
an
know,
allergy.
have those murders at the carnivals.
Well, at a state fair or whatever, that's
What
a setting
carnival?
for a murder and all those people.
I'm
But there
not
were
familiar
no people.
with you.
It was empty. And you went in and you had the schlocky store where they had a lot of, velvet pictures of dogs playing poker and things like that. And you're thinking, what is this? So I guess that's a wonderful advertising campaign for a place you go one time
And then flee. I mean,
and then flee.
flee.
And then flee.
Uh,
Nothing. And if you're affiliated with south of the border and watching this, that is not mean. I don't mean to denigrate you. I mean to praise you because that's a fantastic marketing idea.
yes, that is a fantastic marketing idea. I suppose we should ask them to ensure that no one is murdered there, like
Sure.
they are at carnivals that you go to. But right, right. I
It's
don't
like the
think,
Rockford Files. If you remember the Rockford Files, Jim Rockford would have to
of course,
chase people through carnivals.
yes, he would, and everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I saw another list of rebrands in the last year or so, but I don't look at these as the Cracker Barrel was a rebrand, right? A lot of these things on the list though are just repositioning a brand, right? To me, they're different, right? Uh, Kleenex added a touch of like tissue. Well, okay, that sounds like it's packaging.
Right. Right.
Brand, I don't know about. I don't. That's not rebranding. That's adding something around the edges, in my view. Decathlon's rebrand emphasized the joy of. That's just brand positioning. That's not rebrand. Um, and Switzerland Tourism, which centered its new brand around the country's natural beauty. That's just brand positioning, right? And by the way, if you're a CMO out there, we live and breathe this stuff. We love brand positioning, probably more than anything else, or repositioning, messaging.
Hmm.
It's fun stuff, but like I said earlier, it's hard. This stuff is hard. Even just repositioning is hard, let alone an entire rebrand. Now, here, let's take a different type of rebrand, if you will. You actually change the name of the company, and I'm thinking of Dunkin' Donuts, right? Which is
To
out
Duncan, right?
Dunkin'. So I did some research into this and I found some things out that surprised me. They changed that name in 20, it was either 2018 or 2019, which since it was before COVID seems like another lifetime.
Oh,
Okay.
COVID changed everything. Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Um, so, but as early, believe it or not, as 2006, they released their first motto that did not include donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. So they were out there for 12 or 13 years just saying Dunkin' before they took the formal step of taking donuts out of the name, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's a plan. That's a plan. That is a long-term transformation plan that probably said, let's do this first, see how that goes. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'll bet you there's tons of consumer research, stuff like that, right? And then it probably all worked well enough that they were actually able to change the name at one point, which, if you think about it, is a pretty drastic thing to do,
It
but
is.
it was very easy for them to do. Now, there is another side of the coin. I've seen talk that, and actually we talked about this in one of my classes on Monday, that um, if you are a younger consumer, let's say you're 25 or younger, you only know it as Dunkin' for the most part. Do you even know that they have donuts? That's still one of the,
Well,
I mean, you still go in there and they have the whole thing of donuts in there, right?
Hmm.
The other thing that I saw, which is really interesting, which is if you look at it globally, and we haven't talked about globality here yet. We haven't not. We've just maybe it's been implied. But let's say you are taking Dunkin', the franchise, into another country. And so it's an entirely new franchise or a new brand for people in that country. Those people would have, no, what is Dunkin'? What does that even mean? Dunkin',
Right.
right? Is that coffee? Is it donuts? Is it breakfast food? It's all of that. But how are you supposed to know without a thing, in this case, a donut, being part of the brand, right? So I suppose everything is a double-edged sword, right? What do you think?
Yeah, and you can regionalize your marketing. You could regionalize your product introductions.
Absolutely. What do you
I know when I worked way long ago at Warner Lambert, we owned Schick razors.
yeah,
And when we would introduce the Schick razor to a new country, we wouldn't go in with our top of the line tracer. We'd go in with our bottom of the barrel, first razor they ever introduced, get a following for that, and then move up the line.
that's right.
And I forget there's a term for this, but that's basically how you introduce a brand, and mostly in countries that aren't quite as resourceful or as wealthy as the U.S. But that's how you do it. You grow it
I,
from the ground up.
I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you a Dunkin' person?
Am I a Dunkin' person? I can tell you at one point in my life, I was. When I was a little kid, we moved down to Florida again, and they had just started Dunkin' Donuts. And I remember my dad saying, "Oh, they started this place, Dunkin' Donuts. They've got like every kind of donut you could ever want." So it was very exciting to go to Dunkin' Donuts. So we would go to Dunkin' Donuts. I liked it very much. I loved cake donuts versus the raised. Then, much later in my life, I discovered a thing called Krispy Kreme.
Oh yeah,
And the
yeah.
taste of a Krispy Kreme hot out of the oven where it melts in your mouth and
Literally,
squishes.
yeah.
You just can't beat that. I'm sorry. And it can't be the fancy ones they've introduced. It has to be the original Krispy Kreme. I could eat a dozen.
And what do they have? What are the two words at Krispy Kreme's that they have flashing in neon lights in the window?
Oh God. I never even looked at the window. What does it say?
Hot now.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
that words, I mean, they might as well just be, you know, funneling the donut smell into the air at that point. I mean,
it is wonderful.
right.
Wonderful.
Um, so okay, so you had an early experience as Dunkin'. It was known as Dunkin' Donuts. Did the change mean anything to you? Just going to Dunkin'.
No, I mean I haven't really frequented Dunkin' Donuts for years. I guess if I were going there all the time, maybe. And here again, hey, if you're from Dunkin', you're watching this, cover your ears. Um, we got a little disillusioned with Dunkin' Donuts because they've got good coffee. But if you go in to get a cup of coffee, they don't let you put in the creamer yourself. They do it for you.
That drives
That's
me
wrong. That is
that
wrong.
that drives me bananas.
Yep.
Have you seen what Starbucks has done?
Um, I don't think so. I know that you can put in the cream yourself, but
Well, you've always been able to do that at the little station, right?
right.
I love that station. Although I will say this, my pet peeve, my Starbucks pet peeve, is when people stand in front of the station when they're waiting for their coffee.
Oh yes, yes.
Hey, get out of the way,
They're
right?
gonna call your name.
Right.
They're gonna
I
call your name.
I need the napkin. Get out of and so the station, they took that away. They stopped doing that
Huh.
at any Starbucks that I've been to over the last couple of years, where they would do it themselves. They've just brought the station back. So a lot of people must have complained. Now but that made me think, why did they change? And you know what I thought of? I hate to say it, here we are in a litigious society. I wonder if somebody, did it themselves and spilled hot coffee on their hand and sued them.
Could be. Could be.
I mean, that's what happened to McDonald's.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, very famous example.
Very famous example.
And
So
so they took action.
this restaurant stuff is not for the faint of heart, Jeff.
No, no, you've got to have some special chutzpah
That's
to
right.
run a restaurant.
So, all right. I mean, I think that's all we had for rebrands, but we did want to offer our listeners some friendly advice. If you are a chief marketing officer, so we're kind of winding into the conclusion. Were there any other points or examples you wanted to cite, Jeff?
No, I think to give a couple of learnings from all of this, what are the five things you look at if you're developing a brand or preserving a brand or enhancing a brand?
Yeah. So I've got three. And you can
I have
please
some.
please chime in as we go. I mean, what's the number one rule of real estate? Location, location, location.
Right.
Research, research. Like I said earlier, people have an emotional attachment to brands. Um, and we talked about, why people go to restaurants. It's personal to them. It's not just about having great food. And it's one thing I joke about my new favorite dish, which by the way, Jeff, is called hash brown casserole shepherd's pie. Um, did I repeat that? Did you get that? Should I repeat it?
Hash brown casserole shepherd's pie?
Exactly. That's what it is. Um, it's one
They
thing.
also serve one hell of a meatloaf there, just so you know.
Oh, that's very comfort foody. Yeah.
Mhm.
See, now I want to go to Cracker Barrel, right? I think they did this on purpose, those SOBs.
We should do another road show where we go to Cracker Barrel.
You know,
We could go to Cracker Barrel, Bucky's, all those things along 35 going south.
if we do and this is a little bit of inside baseball, folks, but hey, this is live television. What the hell? If we do the Texas A&M thing, we're going to be
There
on
we go.
the highway, and that we should do a vlog all based on stopping for food. We're going to be food critics.
Hmm. Well, on that trip, you're going to go past an area that serves all peach ice cream, this whole area. So you stop for a peach ice cream.
Oh
And
my
then you
God.
get down a little bit further, you stop at a Cracker Barrel. And I think there's a Bucky's along there. So,
I'm sure there is. Yeah. So research, research, research. And it's one thing to update the menu, right?
right.
It's even another thing to change the actual name, right? And every situation is unique. But boy, if you're a restaurant, it's an entirely different thing if you're changing the entire customer experience. That
Yes.
better be based on research. And if this was, maybe they did the wrong research.
Shame on you.
Maybe they didn't, or maybe the sample size was too small. I don't know, but it didn't work. Clearly didn't work. So you
No.
got to do the research. Okay. The second thing is go out and, maybe Cracker Barrel did this. I don't know. Go out to different publics, to different groups, to different stakeholder groups under NDA, of course, before you go public with this stuff.
Hmm.
The industry analysts, Jeff and I have spent a lot of time in IT services where the industry analysts are the kings. They're the king.
Oh, yeah. They can make or break you.
What's that?
They can make or break you,
No question.
particularly if you're a technology.
You're a CIO and you want to pony up $1 billion for an IT package. First thing you do, you go to the industry analyst. Who's bought the technology before, right? What's your rating on them?
Right.
Gartner, 800-pound gorilla, but there are lots of others. We're getting a little sidetracked, but industry analysts, investors, and others, maybe even employees. You'd have to do this very carefully over time, but A, they can steer you in the right direction, but B, they can come to your defense if and when the SHIT hits the fan.
For sure.
Seen some of these stories out there with third-party endorsement quotes from outsiders who said, here's why they did it, and it makes sense to me. If you're pre-briefing people before you go public and bringing them in and hopefully turning them into an evangelist, they're much more likely to come to your aid if you run into a problem. That's one thing. And then the third thing I thought of was prepare some marketing assets in advance to support your announcement. It could be videos of customers talking up the new rebrand, the new experience. I'm Stuckey's does a rebrand. They interview some customers in advance. When they put out the press release that day, maybe they have a social campaign that's filled with videos of customers talking up not only the pecan rolls, but
Yes.
oh, look at this new store. Oh, this is great. Blah, blah, blah. Right.
I didn't really want to go and visit relatives. I wanted a pecan roll.
That's right. Exactly. And so that can all easily be done if you build out a roadmap in advance, and that roadmap doesn't go on forever, but it has enough runway that you can build and build and build these things in advance. So when you are ready to press that button, you've got all the backup in the world, even if the president of the United States has about it, right? Those are my pieces of advice. Jeff, anything from your end?
Yeah, I got three things here. So first, if you're giving a speech or whatever, you got to know who's in the audience. You got to know your audience. You got to know who loves your product. You got to know why your brand has equity, and if it has equity, or is it something that's just this fantastic tradition? And if you break the tradition, you break the brand. I think that's one of the first things you have to know. And that's certainly the case with Cracker Barrel. And, you go back to the new Coke example. New Coke, do you want to be like Pepsi? Or do people love that Coca-Cola classic brand? And that was a great marketing lesson there. But so you have that. Then you got to listen to your audience. You got to ask them, what do you think about this? You do a little focus group. And then finally, what is your purpose? Do you want to grow your sales? Do you want to latch on to ones that are leaving? What is the purpose around this? Because there are lots of brands that have cachet and equity around them that they don't even realize. So those would be the three things I would look at.
That's exactly right. And yeah, I mean, and all of that stuff you just said can easily be put together into a presentation that you can float ahead of time with certain audiences under NDA and get some third party feedback. I've been involved in rebranding efforts myself where that was done, where we went out, and I'm talking about company changes, logo changes, things like that, that I probably shouldn't talk about in terms of who it was with. But we learned invaluable lessons from some of these people, including, and this was in the IT world, customers.
Oh, yeah.
Do under an NDA with a consumer of a restaurant. But
Mhm.
a high level tech buyer, you could do that. You could do that under NDA. You don't need to get to a ton of them. A little bit of money,
Yep.
but it's worth it in the end. Just do the research, folks. That's all we're saying.
I agree. You could save yourself a lot of money. You could save your shareholders a lot of money.
That's right. All right. I think that's all we have. Why don't I turn it over to you to close us out?
Well, first, yes, thank you, John. This 21st broadcast is kind of special to me because that number 21, I know a lot of you out there probably don't remember this or don't care, but I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my favorite Pittsburgh Pirates player of all time was Roberto Clemente, who wore number 21. So that number has always been sacrosanct to me. I love the number 21. So special broadcast, 21. All these things we've covered, I think are really interesting. You just take a look at it. This is in the news today. Would a lot of these brands be in the news at all? No. And did some of them make mistakes that vaulted them into the news that may ultimately be good for them? Yeah. But others have made mistakes that have sunk them. So I just think it's a really good topic. It's worthy of discussion.
You know why 21 is important to me?
Was that
because
Reggie Bush's number?
no,
His
that's how
number.
old you have to be to have a hash brown casserole shepherd's pie, right? It's that strong. It's that strong. You have to be 21. And I remember, no, okay. I'm not kidding. I'm going to Cracker Barrel. Um, I think it's, one of the things I think is important point. Why have all these rebrands occurred? Why are we talking? Why did Cracker Barrel do this? I strongly suspect it is a sign of increased competition, is struggling in a middling economy,
True.
causes business problems, which results in the CMO and the board sometimes looking at the CMO. What are you going to do to help us out? What are you going to do to help us drive growth? Let's rebrand, right? I get it. But if environmental, I should say, maybe external performance pressures are driving a lot of these rebrands or repositionings, that's probably going to keep happening. So the stuff we're about probably becoming increasingly common, which makes it even more critical to get it right when you do it. So yeah, this is really important stuff.
Hey, let me do an ad for Clients First Marketing and Communications LLC. Please look at our website. Go to all of our social channels. We're on every one of them, and watch these podcasts. They're out there. We've got them all archived. You may learn something. You may laugh. You may cry, but you'll always be entertained. John, you want to take it from here?
We wish you all a great day. Yes, please follow us. We have just earned our 100th LinkedIn follower. That's a milestone that we've been chasing for a while. We've gotten there. Now, what do we want to do next? We want to get to 200. So please consider following us on LinkedIn. You can follow this podcast specifically on YouTube. This will be out the week of something in September. And we're excited and frankly a little bit hungry. So
I am hungry now.
one last time. Hash brown,
Casserole,
shepherd's
shepherd's pie.
pie. See y'all later.